Hey guys, Grant here, Gutter Summit. I've got my main man, Jason Plett. He's the CFO of the FlexKeeper. Thanks for being with me today, Jason.
Thanks for having me, Grant.
Absolutely. And I'm fired up about my gear, and I'm fired up about the swag that you're bringing to the summit. It gets good, it keeps us cool, and I love the new design. That's going to be great.
Yeah, these are going to be collector's items at some point, right?
Hopefully we got a couple extra because I think last year there was a few extra, but I gave them out. So I'm really looking forward for me and Hadrian and James to get our hands on a couple of those.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to put those aside starting right from the beginning. Jody actually said that she was disappointed too because we only managed to get one last year.
Sharing it.
For sure.
You guys don't know what we're talking about, but it's some cool swag. This year, the swag bags, Jason, are just packed. I'm really excited about that. I'm a swag guy myself.
I love it.
Hey, let's dive right into it. Today, as you guys might be able to see, I'm standing up. I'm moving around. I'm making some changes. I'm really trying to get dialed in for tomorrow, not necessarily for 2027. Some things, Jay, as we talk about, you got to have a real sense of urgency. You're helping me outside of all my businesses with my personal financial structure and things like that. So today I really just want to have a kind of a brief, pointed, I've got a few questions for you. So I just want to start off with thank you for everything that you've been doing for myself personally, as well as all of the conjoined and individual businesses, conglomerate that we have going on. It's really nice for a guy like myself that's good at gutters, but not good at finances and accounting and bookkeeping and all of the tax stuff that you're an intellect in. I'm able to just kind of just really rest easy. I know myself, my wife, my family, my businesses are in good hands, so we appreciate that. So I'm really happy to have you on here today. You guys at the FlexKeeper are again sponsoring the opening reception at the Gutter Summit this year, something I'm pumped about. Now, you're typically a man of few words. So it's funny as I'm planning this reception time, like, how long is Jason going to be up there? What's he going to say? And he's like, yeah, dude, I'm just here to buy some drinks. Like, come talk to me at the booth. So you guys find Jason. He's going to be all over. I believe he's speaking again this year, or you're in a some type of forum, a question forum or something there. No, you're speaking. So find Jason. I believe he has a spot. He's doing a speaking on the pre-show day. Now you know if you didn't know Jason. He also has a booth there that him and Jody. And are you bringing some team this year?
Yeah, we're going to bring Josh. We're bringing Josh this year. We've affectionately nicknamed him the Gutter Governor. We even got him a shirt with debit and credit on there, hanging some gutters. It's pretty sweet.
That is going to be really, really cool. Okay, well, we really appreciate you guys supporting the event every year. If you guys haven't met Jason, find him or Jody or now Josh. Like, it's really important the way you've structured your business, how and if you're paying your taxes, you have someone reputable doing your taxes, not doing weird stuff for you that might feel good on the front end but is hurting you on the back end. Highly recommend the Plett services over there at the FlexKeeper. And in fact, you already are doing a pretty decent amount of business inside of the gutter industry. You've seeked out the knowledge so that you can be the expert specifically for us. And you're working with a lot of the gutter growth members. So I know everybody's been really excited and happy about your services. So today I have 3 questions for you. And that's going to start off with, most gutter guys know the difference between 5-inch and 6-inch gutters, or between 5 and 7-inch or half round or box. Most of them don't know the difference between an LLC or an S corp. And with everything being so cost driven right now, materials, services, gas, labor, everyone needs top dollar. Like, every little margin matters. And so I think that once you get your accounting and bookkeeping and tax preparation all in one, I think that's a separate conversation. Trying to get 2 other companies to work together on your numbers is so important. But let's break this down for the average gutter company owner. So my first question is, Jason, if you would break down, what is the real difference between operating as a DBA or sole proprietor, an LLC, or an S corp? And more importantly, at what point do these make sense? So the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely, Grant. This is a great question, one that I hear every day, one that I school a lot of people on, not just gutter owners. A lot of small businesses come to me with the same question. So as far as taxation goes, they're all relatively the same. What we're looking at, though, is some measure of liability protection. So for a sole proprietor, you're operating as yourself. You really have zero liability protection at that point. You're basically saying, I'm the gutter company, that's it. And if something goes wrong, the homeowner or somebody's going to look to you to make it right. And this could be very costly by way of, if there is a big problem. So at very minimum, people should form LLCs. And basically an LLC is just what it is. It's a limited liability company. It's going to give you some measure of protection if there's a problem with the job, or you get into something that's not good. You're going to get some protection from having that LLC. Now, the taxation is exactly how it is when you're a sole proprietor. There isn't any difference. All of your profits are going to be subject to Social Security and Medicare tax and federal taxation. Now, this is the big difference where my gutter owners get confused.
All right.
They do not understand that Social Security and Medicare is essentially you putting money away for your retirement. When you're 65, you get Social Security and Medicare. This is the trigger that funds that. Okay. And then on top of that, there's federal tax. This is just what it is, federal tax on your income. So that's what you're going to get taxed on under an LLC, and you should be very aware of those two different tax levers. Now, when we move to S corp taxation, we now get a controllable portion of that Social Security and Medicare. Your federal tax is going to stay the same. If you make $100,000, you're going to pay tax on $100,000. But what doesn't happen in a S corp situation is that your entire profits don't have to be subject to the Social Security and Medicare tax. Okay. So in this entity formation, or you can actually elect this taxation within your LLC, we are now going to move away from everything that you profit being subject to that 15.6% tax. Okay. Now, the caveat is you can't avoid it entirely. You have to set a fair and reasonable salary within your S corp, but where the taxation savings comes is if you were to make $100,000 in your gutter business and you're an LLC, you're looking at a $15,000 tax bill for Social Security and Medicare alone. Okay. In an S corp, we are going to decide we are going to give ourselves a $40,000 salary. So automatically our Social Security and Medicare drops to approximately $6,000. So what we're seeing is a $9,000 savings in this Social Security and Medicare tax. Now, I always tell my owners, don't take the $9,000 and go on vacation. I know, a lot of people, hey, I saved $9,000, so, I'm going to do something nice. Yeah. I recommend you take that $9,000 and you put it in your own retirement that you're managing versus the government.
Yeah. Love it. No, that's perfect. So what you guys heard him say there, he was talking about leverage. I want to just speak really quickly on the word leverage. It's kind of two words put together, right, Jason? It's lever, essentially at the beginning, and the second part is age. So a lever usually makes something go or creates some type of thing happen. Someone could fall through the ceiling, whatever. It pushes you forward essentially into whatever is told you that will happen when that lever goes. And then there's age, which is time. So using leverage the right way and understanding leverage is typically going to save you time, which is your most valuable asset. I really like that part. Okay, question 2. You guys, I want you to remember September 23rd, 24th, 25th. September 23rd is the VIP event. The 24th and the 25th is the general admission. I want you to see Jason on the 23rd. Tuesday, that'll be Wednesday evening. We're having the reception that the FlexKeeper sponsors. Going to buy you some drinks. We're going to have a good time. Come on out. Find Jason. Ask him that question you've been dying. There's no wrong questions when it comes. And I have found through my relationship with Jason, at first I was like, oh my God, this guy knows so much more than me about all that stuff. It was nice to just get humble and go, oh, teach me, Jedi, the right ways, right? So number 2 is let's put some real numbers behind it. I'm a gutter business that's currently doing $500,000 to $1 million, right? I've got a couple of trucks, a couple employees. I think this is what you see with the members. It's what we see in the industry all around. There's a few guys that have gotten a lot bigger. That's a little bit of a different setup. So we're really talking about probably 90% of the gutter industry. But I'm still running everything through just a basic LLC. And a lot of them are actually running it just through a DBA, right? So they don't even have the LLC. But let's act like they're running it through an LLC or DBA only. Talk to us about like what we could be leaving on the table. Like when because of the way they're exposing themselves, like what could they be leaving on the table? And why should they reevaluate the way that their company is structured?
Well, it's always about cash flow, right, Grant? Mm-hmm. So in an LLC business, I see my owners, they don't really have a sense of what their taxes are going to be at year end. So they're always super surprised when I tell them, oh, your tax bill is $15,000 or $20,000. They don't expect that. So when we move to a more predictable model, such as an S corp, and especially with 500 to 1,000 or $1 million grossing businesses, we can really figure out, here is what your tax exposure is, and we're going to make sure that tax exposure is covered before the end of the year or before we file your taxes. So it's more, it's not that that you could potentially be leaving deductions on the table with one or the other. It's really more about the planning mechanism. Okay.
Yeah, so being prepared, right?
Right. And you and I both know that if you're a good gutter guy, you don't just show up at the job and hope that the materials are on your truck, right?
Right.
When you go do a job, okay, I need this much feet of gutter, I'm gonna need this much downspout, I'm gonna, and if you're missing some of those things, that really makes your job go sideways, because all of a sudden you're running to Home Depot or you're having to come back. I mean, all of those things cost money, and
your margin starts to dissipate immediately.
Absolutely. And that is the cost of bad planning. It's the same in the tax. If you're not planning deliberately what your tax liability is going to be and how you're going to take care of that, you're basically making a job that is your responsibility go sideways.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think that, the bookkeeping, the taxes, all of that is just so daunting for a business owner because, albeit great, right? The bad moments too, you're more protected when you're working for someone else, essentially, right? Of course, they could close down out of the blue, but, all my career jobs I've had, the paycheck just keeps coming. I just keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then you jump over into this entrepreneurial thing that maybe you're not cut out for. Maybe you are. You've got different strong suits than the next entrepreneur, but it's so pushed down our throats. The American dream is to not let anyone tell you what to do, right? And have your own time, which is great. It's a lot of work. It's a lot less time. All the stuff. But there is a lot of a freedom attached to it down the road, right? It's a hope. And so preparation combined with that hope and a lot of effort and overcoming struggles is what's going to have the sharpest stone, right? You're going to be able to really have a business that is fluid, that eventually could be somewhat passive. And I would really encourage people, it's been an absolute blessing to be able to be so directly related to you and your essential protection of my businesses that, I just wasn't aware of how important that was before. And now I get a front row seat, and we're coming up into year 3 and 4 of you taking care of all of our stuff for us. And I've got a lot on my plate already. Couldn't imagine just not having anything to do with this or any other understanding of it, right? So my third question would be you work with business owners and see this stuff from the other side. Really, I see it because I do a lot of coaching, but prior to a lot of coaching, it's something that a 20-year guy in the industry, unless he sought out education, really wouldn't have much knowledge about, right? Everybody's got their mother-in-law or their sister-in-law or the neighbor or somebody part-time, barely doing their bookkeeping, accounting, and then trying to get that over to a tax preparer, right? So I'm going to add another question. I want to ask you that one. Do you see a lot of relationships where that works well? Having 2 people doing your bookkeeping, accounting, and then, some other random person doing your taxes? Or does it not matter at all as long as you've got all those people in place? What's your 2 cents on that?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because this week I actually had my first meeting with a gutter company that actually was having somebody else, an actual professional company, do their bookkeeping. Okay. And it was fine. We did a review of the client's books. We kind of pointed out where we would do things differently, or where we might categorize things differently, or some places that the business could do better. Yeah. And that business basically said, we're happy with this other company, but it's so much easier when everything is integrated and you're handling everything. So we have a lot of relationships with spouses, with other bookkeeping companies, with owners that are doing it themselves. We have a couple of those where the owner really is financially savvy and they want to do their own books. Okay. But even those owners are telling us we are about to release control of our books to you guys because we've been working with you long enough. Yes. And we trust you. You've brought knowledge to us. You've helped us with areas like payroll where we maybe didn't have it set up right, or we had some issues with it. And because of that, we're going to give you the whole, ball of wax, if you will.
Right, right. It makes sense. I just, when you need something from me, we were having a conversation where you called me last week. Hey, bud, I just need to wrap up a couple little items, loose ends. And I'm like, in that sense, we hang out all the time, but it's we don't talk business all the time. That's not fun. That's not why we hang out, right? So you're like, hey, quick little check-in. And I'm like, okay, cool. Why? I don't know anything about any of this stuff. You handle everything. And we had to have kind of a funny conversation. And I was being a bit facetious, but I was like, hey, Jason, why is there any questions for me at all about anything with my businesses? He's like, man, I'm not your personal assistant. You can have an executive assistant buffer. I'm like, how do very wealthy people literally never have to think about their numbers? He's like, all these executive assistants, but they still have to know your heart. And I don't have those type of moves yet. So anyway.
Well, you're going to upgrade.
I'm good at delegating. I'm really good at delegating. I should get
you and I both.
Yeah.
That's what Jody makes a joke about that all the time, about how I just delegate everything out.
I mean, and then what they teach you, let's take a moment and pause. Let's talk about Jody, your wife and business partner. She's just outstanding in her knowledge and education of all of this. Tell us a little bit about your partner.
Yeah, so Jody runs the bookkeeping arm or accounting arm. We like to call it accounting. It sounds way more bougie than bookkeeping. But she runs the accounting arm. She is a QuickBooks expert. She's certified in QuickBooks, so she knows far more about running a set of books than I do. Not that, obviously I understand accounting and how it rolls out, but she's really, really good at the nitty-gritty details of things.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is that she can clean up a set of books like you wouldn't believe. We have seen some real horror stories of, people bring us their books and they're like, oh yeah, these are perfect. And she starts looking at them and
the books that were in the garage.
Yeah. She's like, but she's amazing. Super personable. Everybody that meets with her over their books is just super impressed by all the stuff that she does.
Yes.
And, she's a pretty good boss too. She lets me get on podcasts and I'm always in a meeting of some kind with a client discussing tax stuff. And she's back there, my biggest cheerleader, but also making sure that the hard stuff, like the little details, get answered in somebody's books where I might not be that concerned about that. She's definitely like a pit bull when it comes to getting those things tied out.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. So shout out to Jody. Thank you, Jody, for all of your support as well. Okay, before I just kind of ask you this last question, I like to have a little silly moment with my guys. So I got some advice for all of you guys that I have taken away from Mr. Plett. So he has a nice house just around the corner from us. We are in the city. We're not really in the middle of anywhere. We're, I don't know, a few miles off of the ocean. And over at Jason's house, you don't get any phone calls. I can call Jason probably right now. His phone's not going to ring. So it's kind of like a text first. Hey, Jay. I don't even call anymore. I just text, right? And I go over to his house. I hang out in the pool. And at his house, I literally just don't get phone calls. It's kind of weird. So then I realized that this must be intentional. Whatever kind of roof you just had put on, that metal roof a few years ago, has completely created this cove around you being able to receive phone calls, especially as a guy who deals with a lot of finances. I love it. I think that must be intentional.
Well, it's actually not, and it's kind of a little piece of annoyance for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I did put on a metal roof, and all of a sudden in my office area, I have to stand up off of my desk and go stand next to my French doors to actually talk on the phone. And I actually get phone calls. Problem is that when I pick them up, it's like people are like, "Are you there?" Oh, I'm only hearing every other word. So I've just stopped answering the phone.
You know what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so because it's just as frustrating answering the phone and you hearing, every second or third word that I say.
That's a big waste of time too. Quite frankly, when you know what the result, it's insanity to keep picking it up.
Right, and somebody told me, hey, you can fix that problem. Go just put a repeater on your roof. And I'm looking at repeaters, and they're like $1,000. And then I have to hire somebody to crawl into my attic, onto my roof to put this.
Now you got to answer all these phone calls too, right? So it's a hindrance, but it's not that much of a. So, and anyway, I just thought it was funny. I was having a good laugh last night. I was thinking about you, and I can't remember if I missed a phone call. I saw someone had called. It's rare that I try my best with all the amount of phone calls I get. And then I was thinking, man, I need a Plett roof. And then I could just announce it in a few Facebook posts like, hey, or if you came over, you'd vouch. Okay, back to business real quick. So you work with these businesses. You see this stuff from a completely different side. So what's the biggest mistake you see small construction companies makes in how they're structuring their business, right? And if you're talking directly to gutter contractors, What's one question that you think that every single business owner should ask their CPA or an attorney, but as they're doing preparation for next year? And we're talking the rookies, the people that have lots of questions. What's the thing that they should ask you guys?
Well, it's not so much a question. It's really understanding your numbers. Okay, so again, same client that I was in a meeting with yesterday, going over their books. We started actually looking at their per client margins, and it wasn't a exact perfect analysis because we didn't have, the jobs specifically tied to their clients, but we looked overall at their product margin and what they were selling their materials for, or so on and so forth. And then what we did is we just did a general allocation to the amount of jobs and what they charged for those jobs. And we found that they had some clients that had super high margins, and then they had some clients that were terrible margins. And even though the analysis wasn't exact because we were just doing an allocation, the business owner was like, oh, wow, this is so interesting because I basically price my jobs almost by how I feel about it, or if I'm going to get the job, or
are
a bunch
you busy,
of other
if you're
factors.
booked out, if you're not, right? Are you desperate for work? And yeah, 100%.
Right. And this was just something that he was looking at all of a sudden, and it was like I could see the light bulb, above his head, like, oh, I need to be a lot more deliberate about my pricing. Like I do. And this guy was pretty dialed in to his numbers, so it's not like I was talking to somebody that was just flying by the seat of his pants doing whatever he felt like. This was somebody that looked at his general pricing for his clients for a quarter and realized that he didn't do a great job for his entire portfolio of clients as far as pricing. And we actually put a number, $4,000 or $5,000, that he left on the table by not having a deliberate pricing strategy and or not specifically knowing his numbers.
You have to have that margin calculator involved. And to your point there, in the seamless gutter business, is too many owners are selling strictly off of close rate. Oh, I need 50%. They could the two. You have 4 jobs. You sell 2. You sold 50%, but those 2 might have been the lower margin jobs. And so you really need to be focusing on dollars looked at closed, so you can use the leverage to fill the gap.
Yeah, and I always love looking at your Facebook posts, Grant, from Mother's Gutters, because you're always talking about, hey, we're going to bid this job and this is how we're going to sell it. And you're really giving away excellent advice to people. But I know, just like I remember a recent post or a conversation that we had about a high-end client that you were, I don't remember the numbers, but maybe you were like $3,000 more than the competition.
Oh, yeah, we did a post recently for a house in Wellington. Yeah, we were
and
3,800, 4,000 over.
Yeah, and I think you actually got the job, but it was more because, well, A, you're a guy, so your personality does sell jobs, to homeowners. But beyond that, you had a deliberate pricing strategy, and you didn't move off of that. You weren't worried about the $4,000 that you were over the other guy, because you knew that you were going to deliver a better job, a better experience, a better product than your competition. So for me, when you as a gutter owner know your numbers, dial it in, deliberate with the client, and also have a value proposition within that sale, that's going to get you a lot further ahead than just trying to stack on a bunch of revenue that may not be priced right or may not have the right margins.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's perfect. FlexKeeper, it's the FlexKeeper. We'll wrap up here. We kept this to a quick 30-minute business lesson. We're going to continue giving you guys more. Just tell the people and the folks that haven't heard you or seen you at the summit a little bit about why the octopus.
Yeah, so the octopus is very near and dear to us. As you can see, we have octopus everywhere.
Octopi.
Yes, octopi. It's actually octopuses.
Octopuses.
Yeah, we actually learned that this last month.
Yeah.
But basically, the octopus has a lot of arms. They're doing a lot of, they're doing a lot of things, and each arm has a brain, and then they have a main brain. And we have a sizable staff, so we're doing a lot of different things. We're doing tax analysis right down to, balancing someone's books. We're helping entity setup and strategy, is what we talked about. So there's a lot of different things that are going on within our company. They are the most passionate creatures in the sea, and we are very passionate about helping our business owners grow, scale, be successful. Octopuses bleed blue blood, which is the color of trust. And anytime you're dealing with somebody's finances, they want to be able to, they want to feel like they can trust you, and we want to not abuse that trust.
I love it. Here in New Orleans, September 23rd, 24th, 25th, we've got the Gutter Summit. You guys can reach out to 𝗪𝗘'𝗥𝗘 There's a million ways to get a hold of them. Go find them on Facebook. That's pretty much where everybody is these days. Give their business page a like, a follow. They put out a lot of good informational. Jason, if I may hold you to the fire, let's hop on in a couple weeks. I'd love to do a session with you about some of those TikTok fallacies of getting this vehicle or cheating the tax bracket this way or doing that, and how those things can backfire. I get a lot of questions about that. So let's maybe hit the nail on the head with a couple of those things, maybe some of which are good advice and some of which are obviously horrible advice. So I appreciate your time. Come see the FlexKeeper in New Orleans, myself, all of the vendors. We have a massive vendor floor. We are 3 times the size of the vendor floors last year. If you have been following us, you should have been commenting grow this entire podcast. I'm telling you now here at the end because I have a lot of trust that all of our followers and viewers know what the heck's going on. Jason, just yesterday, the day before, Lisa, all the time. Oh, what's up with the Gutter Summit? Tell me about this. I just saw it for the first time. I'm like, how? GutterSummit.com. Hope you have an absolutely fabulous rest of your Saturday, Jason. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Grant.